Healthy, Play Healthy, Saskatchewan. Today we're going to talk about healthy foods for my recreation setting, a step-by-step guide. My name is Tim Hanna. I'm the consultant for facilities and training with Saskatchewan Parks and Recreation Association, aka SPRA. So there's two others helping with today's presentation, and I'll ask Stacey to introduce herself now.
Hi everyone, I am a public health nutritionist with Saskatchewan Health Authority. My name is Stacey Wiens, and I have been working really closely with another coworker, Tracy Sandin, and our adult subcommittee in Saskatchewan with the Public Health Nutritionist of Saskatchewan Working Group on the resource Healthy Foods for My Rec Setting, a step-by-step guide. So I'll be presenting that portion of our webinar today. Thank you.
Melanie?
Hi everyone.
Are you there, Melanie?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
I know I probably sound like I'm in a tunnel today. Sorry about that. I'm just helping to facilitate any questions that get posted to the chat box. I'm also a public health nutritionist like Stacey, and I've been working closely with the provincial team to help roll out the initiative overall. So welcome everybody.
Just a reminder before we get going that the webinar will be recorded and made available on SPRA's website. Okay, the link is shown on that first slide where you can find the information. Other information that is currently there on our website is nutrition standards and also the Getting Started document. So those are two great resources. And of course, the step-by-step guide is the third in that series. I just ask everybody if they can please mute your audio now. And if you have any questions, please submit them in the chat box. Can we go on to the next slide, please? Important for us to know who's on the call. So if you can take a moment, we have 4 questions for you to answer that will help us determine who's on the call. And we're just loading those up now. Bear with us a second.
We might need to, I'll try here. There we go, I found them.
If all of you that are on the call could take a moment and answer the 4 questions, you just have to click onto your chat box. And then under there, you'll see a polling area, and the 4 questions are there. So if you can just take a few minutes and complete our 4 questions, that'll give us an idea who's on the call today. Melanie, are you able to see how we're making out with the polling?
Yes, I don't think it's working, unfortunately.
Okay.
It's pretty good last time.
No, I can see answers coming in.
Okay.
Perfect. Yes, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Good.
I'll give everyone another minute here. Thank you. As a reminder, if you go to your chat box and then in polling, you'll find these questions if you haven't found them yet. Okay, I'll go ahead and close the poll. Thank you very much. Oh, there's somebody still working on it. I won't close it yet. 5 more seconds here, and then I'll close the poll. Okay, thank you everybody for participating.
Are you able to publish those results?
Yes, I will be able to. Oh, it's going to give people a few more seconds to finish answering. Okay, and I will share those results now. Can you see them?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to quickly summarize them, Stacey?
I actually can't see them, so I think if you could do that, that'd be great, Tim.
Okay. It looks like the majority of the respondents are representative of the recreation field or possibly other. Which one best describes your position? It looks like policymaker and program staff are represented. There's nobody here from the food service provider. Have you participated in others before? We have some that have participated in webinar 1 and one that participated at the conference. And how would you rate your readiness for change? No answer was very ready, led the way with 5 responses, and no answer was 4. So that sort of gives us an idea who's on the call. Thank you very much for taking that opportunity to do that for us. That gives us an idea how we'll shape the rest of our conference. If we can move on to the next screen, that'd be great. For the outline for today's webinar, we plan on talking about these 3 things. We're going to highlight some of the research from Saskatchewan that's been conducted over the last year. Today we'll give you a very brief overview, and again, if you want more information, you're more than welcome to look at the first webinar that focused in on that. The next thing we'll talk about in this is the national trends and resources. This is Eat Healthy, Play Healthy is a movement that's going across Canada, and a lot of provincial and territorial jurisdictions are redoing the research and coming up with all sorts of tools and ideas on how we can improve our healthy food environments and recreation facilities. And last is the Saskatchewan resources. Again, it's a 3-part series. The nutrition standards for Saskatchewan was released some time ago, and the Getting Started document as well. So those are 2 resources that you have available. Today we'll concentrate more or less on the step-by-step guide. Want to move forward on the next screen? It should be pointed out that Eat Healthy, Play Healthy is a collaborative effort, and there's many different organizations that are part of it. One, for example, is the University of Saskatchewan, the Government of Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan Parks and Recreation Association, the Public Health Nutritionists with the Saskatchewan Health Authority, and the Heart and Stroke Foundation. So it's a real coming together of both recreation and health sectors. Our goal is to work together towards healthy food environments in Saskatchewan sport and recreation settings. This would be the same as being done in schools currently. On to the next slide. There's an interesting quote, if you can read that on the slide. It goes, children and youth involved in sports consume more calories, fast food, and sugary beverages than those who did not participate in sports. I didn't know if this surprises you or not, but it certainly surprised me when I first read it. I think some of the pictures that are included on the slide give you an idea of some of the food that's currently being promoted in our recreation facilities. So if you can take a moment and think of the last recreation setting that you're in or one that you frequent regularly, and if you can quickly think about where the food and drinks are located, what type of drinks and food are available, are they healthy, are they not so healthy, how are they placed, are the healthy choices hidden in the back, or are they close to the place where you check out, how are they priced, are the healthy ones priced more expensive or less expensive than the unhealthy choices? Or what other type of marketing do you see when you go into your recreation settings? So these are some of the things that we want to unpack with you today and talk about how we can make changes moving forward. This slide shows some of the research that's been done over the last year or so and some of the findings that we've learned from that research. The first bullet is the majority of food and drink choices available in Saskatchewan public recreation facilities would be described as less healthy. There's also a range of opportunities and barriers were reported moving forward towards offering healthier foods. Attempts have been made to increase healthy choices in many recreation facilities, and there is little to no promotion of healthier choices in these recreation facilities. But there is a desire and readiness in organizations to change. And certainly this is being driven by consumer demand as well. Again, we've mentioned earlier, if you want further information on the research that's been done to date, please look at the first webinar in this series, and again, it's posted on the SPRA website. Good nutrition is strongly linked to positive health outcomes, and I think we all are aware of that. Some of the direct benefits include improved athletic performance, better overall health, lower disease risk, feeling better, stronger muscles and bones, and more energy. Therefore, offering healthy food and beverage choices in our recreation facilities makes perfect sense. So why consider sport and recreation settings? Well, there's a number of factors. First is it's a common gathering place for people of all ages. 74% of Saskatchewan households with children reported accessing a public rec facilities in the last 12 months. Some individuals and families spend several nights a week in one or many recreation settings, and this is true for many young families. Public funding should support positive health outcomes. The argument there is public funding should be used to support positive health and not negative ones. Staff and coaches are important role models for youth and children in sport, so it's important for them to understand how they have an impact in eat healthy, play healthy. We're following the lead of the work that's being done in schools. So we want to have a common message between what kids learn in the school environment and in the recreation environment. And again, changing tastes of consumer. Consumers are leaning more towards making healthy choices, and that includes recreation facilities as well. Many of you will be familiar with the Framework for Recreation, Pathways to Wellness, which was released in 2015. Recreation provides multiple pathways to well-being for individuals, communities, and for built natural environments. Health and well-being is determined by the physical and social conditions that people experience in the places where they live, learn, work, and play. Goal 1 of 5 in this report talks about fostering active living through physical recreation. Goal 4 of 5 talks about ensuring the provision of supportive physical and social environments. Goal 4 directly relates to the work on improving food and drinks available in recreation setting and creating a supportive environment where healthy choice is an easy option. National movement. As I mentioned earlier, Saskatchewan is a little late jumping onto the train, but there's a large national movement happening across the provinces and territories, and there's much research and resources being published. There are resources available from across Canada, and the best way to find them is the website www.stayactiveeathealthy.ca. So that's an important link that you may want to go to for additional resources. Next slide, please. What some other research tells us. SPRA is surveying the field in 2018. We asked the question about eat healthy, play healthy, and 79% agree or strongly agree that facilities should offer healthy food options. One of the priorities for action noted then would be work with recreation and sports facilities in your community to ensure patrons have a choice of healthy food options. I will now turn the presentation over to Stacey to talk more specifically about the step-by-step guide.
Thank you very much, Tim. So now that we've heard from recreation settings across the province and have an understanding of what has worked best across Canada, we've started to create resources here in Saskatchewan. So the first resource I'm going to highlight are healthy eating posters that were created through the Eat Healthy, Play Healthy initiative. They're on your screen there. These are available for all recreation settings in Saskatchewan to use. They come in 2 different sizes, and the topics include Rethink Your Drink, Nutrition on the Go, Snack for Success, and Hydrate for the Win. You can order them free from SPRA, and they will mail them to you. The next 3 resources are part of our Healthy Foods for My Recreation Setting series. So the first one is Nutrition Standards for Saskatchewan. The next one is Getting Started. And the third one is the Step-by-Step Guide. So in the first webinar, we went over the nutrition standards and the Getting Started documents. So we will just quickly touch on those today and focus most of our time on the very soon to be released step-by-step guide. We are hoping to see that in the very near future. So the first resource I will talk about are the Healthy Foods for My Rec Setting Nutrition Standards. This tool can be used by people in recreation settings who serve, sell, and or promote food and have influence over these decisions. The tool uses food labels to help the reader decide what food fits where. In most cases, it's best suited for prepared foods, like prepackaged foods, or ones that have a label. We can also use it to assess foods we assemble or even recipes if we analyze each of the ingredients going into it using its food label. So it just works off food labels for the most part. Fresh fruit and vegetables would be an exception here because they don't typically come with a food label. So foods and drinks are sorted into 3 groups in this resource. Offer most often. These foods and drinks offer the maximum nutrition. Offer sometimes. These foods and drinks offer moderate nutrition. And offer least often. These foods and drinks offer very little, if any, nutrition. And so when I refer to healthy choices in today's webinar, and generally with the step-by-step guide, we are talking about foods and drinks from the offer most often and the offer sometimes groups. If you would like more detailed information on how to use the standards, please watch the webinar from September 11th. And as mentioned already, both the nutrition standards and the webinar are available on the SPRA website. So our goal when creating the Healthy Foods for My Rec Setting series was to create a variety of tools for different people and different needs. We felt there was a need for a quick, practical tool that people could go to for some simple ideas. So we came up with a 2-page resource called Getting Started, which provides quick tips to start improving the nutritional quality of foods and drinks you offer without a lot of planning required. So if time doesn't allow for you to review the standards or delve into the step-by-step guide just yet, these ideas might inspire 1 or 2 things that you could consider trying in the near future. So what we would consider low-hanging fruit or a quick win. 1 or 2 healthy changes can make a big difference for a staff member or families or individuals who spend a lot of time in recreation settings and to participants' athletic performance and health. So even if you're just doing 1 or 2 small changes, that can make a big impact. So several ideas are shared in the following categories within that Getting Started document. Modify existing menu items. So one idea here would be to offer whole wheat breads or bun as the default option on a sandwich or hamburger, and then a client could request the white bread if that was their preference. Another, for add healthy no prep snacks, one idea is hummus and cracker pack. Low prep snack idea might be something like a homemade trail mix. and a new tasty meal idea could be a breakfast burrito or a sandwich. So these categories are how the document is laid out, and there's just several ideas listed under each of them. Moving on to the step-by-step guide. The guide provides a wide range of practical information and tools to support healthy change. Today, I'll just give you a glimpse of some of the sections and dive a bit deeper into a few of them. So every person is going to use the step-by-step guide differently. We made the table of contents linked so that you can pick out what information will be helpful to you and your community. It was never intended that a person would read the resource from cover to cover. It really is about finding the section in the table of contents and getting that concise information in that section. The guide will be very user-friendly online, but a reader can also print off sections if they prefer to use the tool that way. So the table of contents, as you can see, is in front of you. What are healthy foods and drinks? So this gives a brief introduction to the nutrition standards and a sample list of foods and drinks that would fall into each category. Canada's Food Guide covers some highlights from the new food guide, including how healthy foods in community spaces are important to a healthy community. Building your business case. A business case is a great way to explain to decision makers and others the importance of your healthy improvements. Not everyone will need a formal business case, but walking through the steps of writing one will help you better understand why and how you're going to make changes. Simple steps for success, I will go into that one in more detail later on. Making changes at last. This section focuses on long-term changes and policy and how they play an important role. As staff turnover occurs, it's good to have things in writing on how and why things are done a certain way. So that section talks to the policy piece. Communicating your expectations, so contracts and agreements. This section talks about the challenges and opportunities that contracts can pose. It speaks about things to consider with current contracts, when renewing contracts, and when creating new ones. Making the 4 Ps of marketing work for you. So the following 3 sections on the table of contents, I will go into more detail, so I won't cover those right now. Sponsorships and fundraising. These sections talk about taking a look at any sponsorship or fundraising in your recreation setting and what foods and drinks you are promoting as a result, and just taking a deeper look at that. More on drinks. So from our Saskatchewan research, it was shown that the majority of items sold in recreation settings are drinks. So we made a whole section to help people understand the relatively confusing drink category. And working with volunteer-run concessions, I'll touch on that later. And the last one here, other things to consider. There are several subheadings under this section. I'll just give you a few of them. One is addressing food culture. One is working with food suppliers, and another one is minimizing waste. So those are just shorter sections under that title. So following the main body of the document is a section that contains tools and templates. I'm going to highlight a few sections from the main body, and then I'll do the same in the tools and templates section. So this first, simple steps for success. So this section goes over 4 general steps to follow to help support effective change. Number 1 is gather a team. Where possible, this should include a variety of different people, such as coaches, customers from young to old, and other helpful community members. So in our research in Saskatchewan, we gathered a few quotes from recreation settings, and I'll just read one here. So this person from Corrobert said, "The booth committee meets yearly to discuss improvements, but work throughout the year to ensure we are managing to the best of our ability. We bring in cheese and crackers, yogurt drinks, fruit and muffins for tournaments, or when we know the rink will be particularly busy. We try to keep the prices affordable." So these and other success stories can be found throughout the step-by-step guide. We really try to incorporate local success throughout the entire guide. Step number 2, assess your current state. So get a good sense of what you're currently doing before you start to make changes. This guide provides a list of questions to get you started. For a more complete assessment, there are tools which you can use that I'll touch on a bit later. Another helpful option in this step is to do a customer survey. We provide tips on doing customer surveys and a sample survey in the tools and templates section. So one quote we heard from Gravelberg was, "A lot of the choices that we made in bringing in a vending machine and bringing in some healthier choices was because of the results we got in our survey." So that's just one example of a customer survey being done in Saskatchewan. So step 3, develop an action plan. Create goals and an action plan. Goals can come in many shapes and sizes, and you and your healthy food team are the only ones that can determine the goals and action plan that best suit your organization. For example, you might decide to try to achieve 25% of offer most often or offer sometimes foods, the ones we consider healthy, in the first year and then progress from there. Or your goal might be completely different, and you might decide to take action on identifying and, where possible, eliminating marketing of unhealthy foods. So as I said, the goals are going to be different across the province. So the information in this section walks you through how to develop your action plan. There are several guiding questions to get you off to a good start. And in the tools and templates section, we provide some sample action plan ideas. And lastly, evaluate your changes. So in the guide, we provide simple questions and more formal steps you can take to evaluate your progress. Moving on, make the 4 P's of marketing work for you. So I'm going to go into these in a bit more detail, but the 4 P's of marketing are essentially product, place, price, and promotion. So product. What are the healthy products that meet your customers' needs? Consider convenience, consistent quality, and when I talk about quality, I also mean nutritional quality, taste, as well as other features. So have popular and tasty healthy foods on the menu. Ask your customers, including children and youth, for recommendations on healthy foods that they would purchase. Some simple, healthy, convenient ideas to consider are a cup of veggie sticks with hummus or dip in a Dixie cup, a hearty rice bowl or a salad served in a large clear cup, a cheese string and an apple combo, or a hard-boiled egg and whole grain cracker combo. So there's lots of other healthy meal and snack ideas listed in all of our resources. And here are just some from around Saskatchewan. So this first one, this is from LOrange, and it's a bento box that was used in their high school in LOrange. So it's a really excellent looking example of a convenient, healthy snack or meal. The next one here is from Saskatoon, and I'd just like to highlight some of the things in this cooler. So of course at the top there's salads. They purposely made a cheese and whole wheat bread sandwich because parents had told them that the kids were going to pull up all the other fillings anyway. So they were adapting to what customers were telling them. So they just, I think it's marbled cheese and some whole wheat bread. There's salads. There's a bento box in that middle shelf. There's looks like a couscous salad of some kind in the bottom, and yogurt parfait, and then it looks like some fruit, some cut up fruit and yogurt as well. And then this is just an example of a meal from a location in North Battleford where you can clearly see how half the plate is salad there. And this is an example from Estevan, that wrap. So we're seeing excellent examples from across Saskatchewan already. Place. So where are customers most likely to notice healthy foods and drinks? So location, location, location. Place healthy foods and drinks at eye level, near the till, front and center, where they're easy to see and even grab. Consider the eye level of adults and children. Chains do this very, very well. So think about the donut display cases at Tim Hortons, or when you go to the grocery store, the high sugar cereals targeted to children are often right at children's eye level. So we just are using the same concepts, but to promote healthy foods. So this image here is an image from location in the Battlefords, and the concession owner, she bought that fridge at a very popular common store, so it's available, I'm guessing, across Saskatchewan. And she put it right in on her counter in her concession. And that way people can not only see the healthy choices sitting there, but they can open it and grab it. So it just makes it that much more tempting to take that and buy that item when it's right there in front of you. Moving on. So price. What is the best price to encourage a customer to purchase a healthy food? The take-home message here is price healthy items at the same or lower price than less healthy comparable items. sometimes this may mean slightly increasing the price of the less healthy option. So a price difference of at least 10% less than the unhealthy alternative is effective in promoting the sale of the healthier option. So that might be a bit confusing, but I'll give you an example. So let's say chips versus a trail mix. If you charge $2 for chips, charging $1.75 or $1.80 for the trail mix will encourage a person to go for that healthy choice. So just that small 10% difference in price will be enough to encourage someone to choose the healthier option. So in this section, we have a table of foods that shows how healthy choices can be profitable even when comparing them to their less healthy alternatives. So this is just one small piece of the table that's in the guide, but just to give you an example of some of the information that will be in that guide. And lastly, promotion. So promotion, how can you promote your healthy choices through advertising and communications? The guide covers messaging, incentives, menu board, and other advertising ideas. In this section, we talk about using creative, simple, upbeat messages. Consumers respond to messages about good taste, fun, and increased energy rather than nutrition. And sometimes I think that's surprising to people. So one example is today's power lunch is our delicious chicken quesadilla. So really talking about that taste and the power lunch and not focusing so much on the healthy piece of it, even though it is a healthy option. So in the tools and templates section, we provide some sample promotional ideas. And so here's a couple right here. And some sample menus as well. We also provide links to, in our additional resources section to help you design simple and eye-catching posters. So both of these examples were designed on a website that's very easy to use. So it helps give you more tools in your toolbox. So we end this 4 P's of marketing section by talking about how not all marketing is good marketing. Become aware of any intentional or unintentional marketing you're doing of unhealthy foods and drinks. In many cases, we're so used to seeing that logo on our menu board or garbage bin or the colorful slushy poster at our concession that we might not even notice what we're promoting. So as I mentioned earlier, one great goal for any organization is to take a hard look at what foods and drinks you're promoting via posters, signage, menu boards, and make a plan to remove that unhealthy food and drink promotion now or over time. In our tools and templates section, we include an infographic that shows how much marketing children are exposed to every single day and how it affects their choices and behaviors. I'll mention this again later, but our final webinar in this series is about marketing in recreation settings. So the next section I will touch on is add variety to your vending. Our research found that the majority of foods sold in vending machines in Saskatchewan are from the offer least often category, or what we would consider unhealthy. If you think of a vending machine you've recently seen or used, or maybe one in your facility, that likely doesn't surprise you. For this very reason, vending machines are one way to have a pretty meaningful impact on the number of healthy items you offer in your facility, simply by cutting back on some of those unhealthy items and replacing them with some healthier choices. So this section goes through topics such as different types of vending machines, working with vending contracts, some healthy choices to try in refrigerated and non-refrigerated vending, and keeping a profit from vending. One tip found in this section is to maintain your nutrition standards across your entire facility. So that would mean if you decide you're not going to sell sports drinks in your vending machines, then you'd also remove those from your concessions. So that just levels the playing field for both options, and it increases the success of both of those areas. Here's an image of a healthy vending machine that we actually got from a colleague in Alberta. Hopefully you can pick out some of the healthy choices offered in that machine. It's a bit hard to see, but I'll just point out there's water, there's juice boxes, nuts, trail mix, an uncoated granola bar, applesauce, and flavored sparkling water. So there are some less healthy choices as well, but the fact that they've offered that many healthy options is incredible, I would say. So some other healthy ideas for vending are a tuna, chicken, or hummus cracker pack, some canned fruit, unsweetened or low sugar cereal, and then if you have a refrigerated vending machine, you can try things such as fresh fruit, yogurt, cheese, and sandwiches. So a couple quick wins in this section. Think about the outside advertising on your vending machine. Is it possible to have that very large sugary beverage switch to water? And I think that just if you spoke to the people you have a contract with, that would be the conversation. And another quick win could be, can you trade out your candy dispenser for a toy dispenser? So there's an example of a toy dispenser. And then in the tools and templates section, we provide a few vending tools, as I mentioned, including some tools for mapping your vending machine. And this helps you plan to provide a certain percentage of healthy items and then the best spots to place them in that vending machine. So this example I've shown here, the green ones are what we would consider the healthy options. So the top picture shows what 75% healthy would look like in a machine, where you're putting those healthy items in the middle as much as possible. And then 50% is the one below, where 50% of the choices in that machine would be considered healthy, and then the red ones would be the other 50%, and those around the edges. So hosting events. Sorry. I've lost my information here, but hosting events, when we talk about hosting events, we are talking about community events and celebrations and parties, as well as, of course, tournaments and bond spiels. So in this section, in terms of celebrations, it's really important to offer healthy choices even at celebrations and parties. The middle picture here is an example from Pine House, Saskatchewan, where they've made a very good display of healthy choices for their community of celebration. The other thing we talk about in this section of hosting events is how tournaments are such a great opportunity to try new healthy menu options. And the reason they are a great choice, you have an increase of customers coming through your door and a short period of time. So if you try a new menu item and it goes well, that's great, and you'll likely sell out, which is a great thing. If it doesn't go well, you've learned something. It was only a couple days of trying it, and you can make changes to that menu item before you try it on your permanent menu. The other thing about tournaments that's great is you can include your menu in the tournament packages that goes out to teams. So that way parents and coaches are well aware that there's healthy, affordable choices at your rec setting, and they don't need to make alternative plans to provide healthy food to their players. And we know that's very common in some places where they're bringing in coolers, or they're going out to restaurants or going to the grocery store. So just informing teams that you have healthy choices. And depending on the capacity of your facility, you can even offer the option of them pre-ordering their meal before they come to the tournament. That helps you plan for quantity, and it also helps them plan around their game schedule. So tournaments are just such a great opportunity to try many of these things. So as I mentioned, that middle picture there is of a celebration in Pine House. The one on the lower right there, that's a celebration in Regina. It's a community event, and I don't know if you can see what's in that picture, but there's water bottles and juice boxes, there's a bowl of apples, strawberries, some cantaloupe, a veggie tray, a box of cheese strings, and then there's a few cupcakes and muffins on the end of the table. So just simple ways that you can include these healthy choices even at community events like that. So volunteers are invaluable to many recreation settings. Without them, many concession and other recreation functions would not operate. However, running a kitchen with continually rotating volunteers can have its challenges. So some of the information we cover in this section is support your volunteers. Engage them by asking them what foods to offer and how to make the concession better. Also, thank them and make sure that they know they're valued. And then skills, time, and energy. Sometimes there may be a lack of willingness to do the added food preparation required for some healthy foods. Volunteers may be tired, have other priorities, feel rushed during those busy times of the concession, and possibly fear doing things wrong. Provide clear instructions to volunteers. One way you could do this is you could provide detailed posters on how each meal should be prepared. So an example here could be how to assemble a chicken wrap. Another idea is to reduce the length of your menu. That may reduce the stress on volunteers. It also helps to manage your food storage and waste issues. Another tip is to keep your menu simple by offering basic healthy sides, such as an easy-to-make veggie and dip cup, or even just that bowl of fresh fruit by the till. That's not difficult to do. Talk to your supplier about healthy food items that come partially prepared or easy to assemble. And lastly, you can pre-prep some menu items. So this might be cooking and cutting up chicken breasts and then putting them in the freezer in individually wrapped portions so that when someone goes to create that chicken wrap, the chicken is already pre-portioned. And lastly, remember to communicate to your volunteers why you are making healthy food changes. So here, as I promised, this is the second section of the guide, and it's the tools and templates. So this is a list of all the tools and templates found in this section. We wanted to make the step-by-step guide as user-friendly and practical as possible. That's why we incorporated a whole section of tools and templates that you can use in your community. And I will just give you a few examples of what they look like. So we start this section off with overcoming resistance, which gives some practical words and thoughts to help support this work if you face resistance from some people. Here are just a few examples that we speak to in this section. So you may hear, foods eaten at rec settings is a treat. So not everyone eats at a recreation setting for a treat. Some people go to improve their health and others may have a chronic disease they need to manage. So it's also important to support these customers. And the other point we have, well, we have several, but another one I'm going to highlight here is that busy individuals and families can find themselves spending several nights a week, as we mentioned, at recreation settings. So the food choices made during frequent visits in a week can have a significant impact on their health over time. The next quote you might hear from somebody is, everyone has the right to choose to eat what they want. And so yes, that everyone does have the right to choose the foods they will eat, including the choice to eat healthy. So healthy choices need to be as available and as appealing as unhealthy choices for people to have that equal choice. And lastly, the one I'll highlight is you may hear, I'm worried I'll lose profits when I introduce healthy items. So in many cases, this has not happened. There's good evidence that increasing the promotion of healthier options will increase the sales of these items without loss of sales or volume. Loss of sales volume or profits. So include customers in the decision process of what to offer. And if that doesn't happen, at least talk to them and make sure that they know why the changes are happening. And lastly, as we've mentioned, use the 4 Ps of marketing to make sure you are promoting these foods as well as possible. There's many other similar tips within that overcoming resistance section. As I mentioned earlier, we have several assessment tools in the Tools and Templates section. Here's what the basic food environment assessment looks like. It's a one-page tool that asks simple yes and no questions, such as, fresh fruits and vegetables are available. And you would just choose yes or no. And then the last column is where you can make notes. Healthy foods and drinks are more prominently displayed than less healthy choices. Energy drinks are not sold, yes, no. So it's just a very quick assessment you can do, and then with the notes you've created, you can decide from there what you would like to work on improving. So another assessment tool provided is a vending machine assessment. This one and a similar concession one go more in depth than that previous one I showed you. So in this one, for every vending machine you have, you would write down the items in each slot and then determine from the food label if it's an offer most often, an offer sometimes, or an offer least often choice based on our nutrition standards. Once you start reviewing items in vending especially, it's quite easy to do. Once you get the first few under your belt, it's quite a simple process after that. So once you've determined what percentage are offer most often or offer sometimes and offer least often, you can start to create goals and an action plan of what percentage you would like to work towards. As mentioned earlier, there are tools in the mapping your vending machine that help you create that plan and what percentage you might work towards. I also mentioned earlier we provide a sample customer survey. So this is just to give you a starting point and adapt it to suit your needs. Some tips with customer surveys are, we do recommend that you keep them short, so no more than 5 to 6 questions. Have someone in the facility prompt people to fill it out if possible. or you can use an online survey tool and email it out via parent user groups. So that's a really easy way to get a hold of several parents quickly. The last section I will cover includes several samples of communications that you could use with various groups. So some examples are a sample invitation to participate in a healthy food committee, a sample communication for media or other stakeholders, sample social media posts, and sample emails to specific user groups. So those are just some of the examples in this section. Once again, you would adapt these to your needs. Some of them it might only be changing a couple words. So we really wanted to provide you with that starting point so that you could just go from there. So many of these communications are really good to send out to parents or sports groups that use your facility. Most of these groups have email distribution lists that could help to share your information. So that gives you a quick overview of what to expect in the step-by-step guide. As a reminder, we will answer questions at the end of the webinar, so please feel free to type any in that chat box. So many people have a vital role to play in improving our recreation food environment, such as volunteers, coaches, staff, recreation practitioners and operators, municipalities, public health, and provincial ministries. We have to remember that we do really need to work together on this. Consumers do hold the greatest clout. Preferences are changing and helping to drive the change toward healthy food and drink options. Are you ready for these changes? And are you exploring? You might already be exploring options, whether they are big or small. And just to finish off here, I want to remind you of the 3 webinars. So the one as mentioned was September 11th, and it's available on the SPRA website. Today's will be available on the site in the next few days. And part 3 will be on December 11th. At 11 a.m. And as I mentioned, we'll discuss the prevalence of food marketing in sport and recreation settings and what's happening in Canada to protect kids from unhealthy marketing. And just another quick reminder of all the resources we've gone over, the posters, the Healthy Food from a Recreation Setting series, and as we mentioned, the step-by-step guide will be coming soon, and the webinars, and then the strengths within your local community. So as we mentioned, there's lots of success stories across Saskatchewan, and so reach out to other rec settings in Saskatchewan or other people in your community, such as schools who have done some of this work already. The other thing I want to remind you, what Tim mentioned, is that there are several Canadian resources on the Stay Active, Eat Healthy website. So it's another great place to look for Canadian resources. And to finish off here, that's their contact information. So for general questions, you can email eathealthyplayhealthy@usas.ca. And for the SPRA specific questions, you can email Tim Hanna. And then for additional support, you can find your local public health office on the Saskatchewan.ca website. So thank you very much for listening, and I will see if there's any questions. Or Melanie, you could let me know if there are any questions people have had.
Stacey, sorry, I just had to get myself unmuted there. I don't see any questions posted. Please feel free to post any questions if anybody has any. I think we're good, Stacey. I don't see anyone posting anything.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening and participating, and keep your eyes peeled for the step-by-step guide that will be released in the hopefully next few weeks, we're hoping. Thank you very much.